Okay, hello YouTubers. Rusty Wilson here. So what I want to do today is I want to do maybe not quick, but as quickly as I can without skipping anything important. I want to go through the steps for tempo mapping. Now, tempo mapping specifically the way that I do it, and the reason that I want to do this is because I've seen a lot of different tempo mapping videos, and the fact is not every audio waveform is created equal. If you can use some of the automated methods that I'll show here, like using Melodyne and the audio bin tool, things like that. If you can use those because you have a waveform that's got really good transients that you can detect, then that's great. But a lot of times we're working with a guitar vocal demo or something like that doesn't have it's hard to pull out transients, especially when you've got a syncopated kind of guitar or something like that. So I've got a method that works really well for me in my studio, and I thought I would share it, that it would be helpful. But I'll touch on the other methods as well. You can always try those. And so let's just jump into it. So I'm using Studio One. And the first thing I'm going to do is bring in some audio. So I've got several recordings that are just guitar demo vocals. One I'm going to pick here because I think it's good for this tutorial it's a song that my brother sent me. So okay, I'm going to drag this file in here. So this was recorded on an iPhone with just the voice memo, I think, is the app that he used. So it's an M4A format, imports into Studio One without any issues at all. So the first thing I like to do is I'll tap in the tempo to get close, right? So, but there are a couple things that you need to do to set up your workflow. And so you need to set up your workspace, basically. So the first thing I need to do is ensure that we set up record tempo to audio track that is enabled. So how you do that is you'll go into your Studio One and Options. And then within Studio One and Options, you go to Advanced. You're going to go to your audio settings, and the third option here is record tempo information to audio files. So if that has to be enabled in order to get the tempo map applied to your audio file. So that's the first thing that you'll need to do. Step two is you'll need to open your tempo map, and so that's going to be here under this little. It looks like a cheeseburger or something. So you'll click on this and then go down and open your tempo map so we can see our tempo map here at the top. Then I want to make sure my track inspector is open. So that's the I button over here on the far left so I can see all of these settings. I also want to make sure that this is currently set. I want to change basically this track, this audio event here. I want to set this to don't follow because I don't want to make any changes to the audio. The next thing that I want to do is I want to set the time stretch algorithm that we will use eventually. So drums basically are drums. That's pretty easy. Then you've got sound, and then you've got monophonic format. So monophonic is good for things like vocals or solo instruments. For this case, we want to use sound. So we want the Elastic Pro format. Okay, so I'm going to play this back, and I'm going to tap in the tempo so I can get close, right? So here we go. Okay, so it came in at about 102, so that's pretty good. So our tempo setting is 102, and I'm just going to set it specifically to 102 so it doesn't end up at like 102.7 or something like that. So we've got our tempo set in at 102, and I'll turn on the metronome, and I will just listen to see how far out this is. That's actually not bad there. Let's skip ahead and see. Yeah, so it's drifted out quite a bit by the time you get about the middle of the song. So, yeah, this is a perfect use case. So what we're going to do first is now that we've sort of got this, our workflow set up, we've got our audio in, we've tapped in our tempo, is we want to basically get to the first beat of the song. Now, this one I just happen to know the first sound is beat one. In some cases, you may have like a pickup that starts on the a couple of beats before, and in that case, you would want to go to the downbeat, the first downbeat. So the first beat of a full bar. So you're going to cut off the first part of the audio. It's fine because it's going to be non-destructive. We're going to bring it back in. But in this case, what you'd want to do is listen to the song and figure out where the first beat is, right? So it is actually on this first sound right here. So a quick way to get to that is to go to the front of the audio waveform somewhere and just hit tab. And the tab key brings you to the first transient because so even though I haven't run a transient detection, there's still transients that are detected in the audio. And so Studio One can find that transient and you can see that it's right there. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice the audio at that point. So right there on that transient. Now, my snap is turned on. So I can toggle snap by pressing the N key or pressing this icon right here. So I don't want snap on for this because I want to make sure that I'm right on that transient. So let me zoom in so I can get right on that right there. So we'll line up on that transient that was detected with hitting tab, and we're just going to slice that audio right there. And then we're going to delete the first part. Now don't worry, this is a non-destructive edit. This is Studio One, so it allows for that. So let's leave ourselves a bar for count in, and we're just going to drag this over now and line it up with the next full bar. In this case, I'm just going to use 2. I'm going to go ahead and re-enable snap though for this so I can get it right on that guy. So now we've got our first beat lined up at bar 2, and I'm going to just drag this back out. So we've restored that audio, and so now we should be right on that downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 102 is pretty close. And now we can begin to use the methods that are available, right? So the first method that you see a lot is using Melodyne. So we've got our audio. We've got our first beat set to bar 1. And if you look down here in the track inspector at the bottom, you'll see the file tempo here is not set. Okay? So the file tempo is not set, and that's exactly what we want. Now we're going to select this file, hit Control-M to analyze it with Melodyne. So you'll see, if you look here, that the tempo map says 102, and it's got in parentheses 103, which means that we've got some sort of ebb and flow. A way to look at that, and I think it's a good idea to do this, is if you go here to the note assignment mode and switch to note assignment mode, and then show tempo editor. So that's going to be under options, show tempo editor. I'm not sure. Oh, it's probably because I'm also recording this. So here you can see in the tempo editor what Melodyne is detecting. So it's detecting a change in the tempo here. The tempo slows down, and it kind of goes back to normal, and then here it bumps up, and you can see these are ending up between bars. So what you're going to do is you're going to create this tempo map that has changes in weird places. It's not going to be like on the bar. Now again, it may be fine, so we'll go ahead and accept this because the idea here is to try to get a tempo map that is as automated as possible. We're making our job easy. So we've used Melodyne to detect our tempo. So in order to get this tempo then into our into a map, into an audio map, I'm going to get back out of our note assignment and back to the either the track mode or the clip mode. So now we've got a file tempo map that is based on Melodyne's detection. To get that into our tempo track, we're going to drag that up here just like this, and you'll see now that a tempo map has been created based on Melodyne's detections. Now, this is where it gets kind of weird. I'm going to close this because we want to see how close this tempo map is. So we're going to make sure our metronome's enabled, and let's listen back. Yeah, see, okay, so as far as I'm concerned, Melodyne just ruined it. So, so the changes that Melodyne put in there are not even close. I'm going to just go to our edit history here, and I'm just going to go to before we did the Melodyne edit, or I'll click on that, and I think it takes you to before. So let's click here. So we're back to our audio form. All we've done at this point, again, is aligned the first beat with the second bar. I'll just go here to confirm that. So our second bar is lined up on the first beat. The next thing that we can try, aside from the Melodyne capability, is we can use the audio bend and quantize. I'm not going to do that. The method that I prefer is to create a new track. So we're going to create a new track. So we're going to plus sign here, make a new track. We're going to call this track tempo map, and it's going to be audio. I'm going to use the microphone that I'm speaking into right now, and we're going to record a click. And so what's going to happen is when I record this, I'm going to use a pen. This is a writing pen that I have sitting here, and I'm going to tap. I'm going to tap my microphone throughout the whole song. So let me go ahead and knock that out for you, and we'll show you what we have. Okay, so now we've recorded our tempo map. Let's disable record there. The other thing that I want to do is I want to set this one as well to don't follow. I'll leave it as drums because that's essentially what it is. And I'm going to go to this file tempo. See, it's got this tempo map in here, and I'm going to clear the tempo map from this audio. So now the tempo is not recorded with the audio because I just cleared it. I'm also not going to follow. You'll also notice that in the very first beat here, I didn't hit any, there's no click because the song starts, and so I started with the second measure. So this is the part where we can now very quickly tempo map to this song, because we're actually going to tempo map to this track. So I'm going to move it to the top. Now we're going to go ahead and detect transients, and the reason for that is because I want this line to be created at the transients. So let's get standard. We'll go ahead and analyze this file. Detect transients should be pretty quick because it's just these clicks. And if we look through, yeah, there's nothing weird in there. It looks like one click at the beginning of every bar. So awesome. So now let's just go take a look here. And here is the tempo mapping piece that I think makes this awesome. So first thing we're going to do is we've already aligned this audio to this first beat. So I'm just going to click there to get our first downbeat. And then the next step is we would begin to align everything with our transient. So you can see here that this third beat is a little bit ahead of this transient. So if I go to my tempo line here, and again, I can make this bigger so it's a little bit easier to see, and you can also change the range. So I want to get a little bit more. I want to move this down to here, so I can set the max here to. We'll set this to what 150. Let's try that. Yeah. So now this moved. Now it didn't change our tempo. We just changed the range that we're looking at. So I've got a little bit more real estate to work with. So I'm going to hover and again, this is you can leave snap on in this case, or turn it off. It depends on what you're going to run into. Snap will usually snap to the transients, and it'll also snap to these, so it should be fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to hover over this line right under the bar beat, or right under the bar. We're going to hold down the control key, and we're going to get this little icon. You can see it there, but it's got a little clock face at the top right. Now we're going to drag this over to that transient, and then let off. We're going to do the same thing at the next bar. So if you go to the next bar, bar 4, we can see that beat is a little bit behind. We're going to grab this, align it with that transient, and then let it go. We're going to go to the next bar. It's a little bit off. We'll bump that. Then we'll nudge the next one. You can see this is a relatively quick workflow. And again, the more you do it, the faster you'll get at it. We're just going from bar to bar, holding down control and aligning that bar with our click there. And again, because our audio track is not set to follow, the audio does not change. The only thing we're changing is the tempo, and we're changing at the bar beat. So we get that first beat of that bar is always going to be aligned with our first beat of the audio file. Okay, so now we finished. We're at the end of the song, and I'm going to let that tempo of 102 just continue out through the rest of the song. I could actually, because I know that the song sort of slows down right here, so I could just delete this last entry, and then it'll keep that last tempo, the last beat that I made, and whatever that tempo was, through the end of the song. So we'll just do that, and I'll scroll out, and let's see. I think I basically created an entry for every single bar, and yes, I did. So now we've got this tempo map. Now I want to check the accuracy and make sure that nothing is sounds weird. So I'm going to listen back through the whole song and just make sure that it sounds like it's locked in with, you know, what he's playing here. I'm just going to skip a little bit. Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds like it's locked in. Yep. Okay, so I think we've got a good tempo map. So this tempo map now that is here matches both of these, WAV files. It's got my click in there, and it's got the original WAV file. The tempo map seems to follow it, brilliantly. So now this part is the important part. We're going to select both of those waveforms. Or really, if we might have multiple, right? So we might have 2 or 3 tracks, and we just needed to get one. We didn't have any good solid tracks to use for this, and so we're going to add this track. We're going to go through, tap it, and then we're going, after we've got that, we're going to detect transients, and then we're going to map manually our tempo map to the first beat of every measure. We've done that. Now I'm just going to hit Control B to bounce both of these tracks. So what happened when I did that was that created a map. So if I look at the very first, the tempo map that we created here, now this says map, and the other one that had no entry before now says map. So we've got a tempo map that is now embedded into this file because we did a bounce, and so it basically took our tempo map and put it in the file. And so the way to confirm this is, now that we've done that, we want to delete this tempo map. But before we delete the tempo map, we want to make sure that we're going to follow these changes. So when the tempo changes, we want our audio to adjust itself based on its tempo map to a new tempo. So to do that, we're going to basically select all of our tracks. We're going to go here where this says don't follow, and we're going to set this to time stretch because we want our audio to time stretch based on the tempo map that we set. Again, this track is drums. The other track, again, is set to sound. So let's go, and we're just going to select all of these tempo markers, and we're going to delete them. We're going to play this back again. We'll skip through with the metronome on, and we're just going to see if this audio now matches the metronome. All right, so it looks like we've got a good tempo map in this song. All right, so good deal. This is my method for doing a tempo map of a track. At this point now, I can bring in loops. I can program drums or whatever I want to do because I've got a good solid tempo map that allows me to elastically change this song. It also allows me to bring in other stuff that's going to map to this tempo, and everything will be locked together. It'll be just much easier to go forward. I can record other instruments now to a click track. That'll work well. It makes it more portable. I can send this track off to someone else. There'll be a tempo map embedded with it, so they will be able to use that to do whatever they're doing in their studio. It makes the audio more portable. So there are a lot of benefits to having a song tempo mapped, and this is my method for doing it. And again, I haven't found a situation yet where this did not work. And anyways, hopefully this helps you. I'm sorry this video is so long. If it is helpful to you, I'd appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have another method that works really well and it's equally fast or even faster or better for you, then please share it in the comments, or create a video and share that video, and let's spread this around. I mean, this community is great because we all help each other out. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Hope you found this helpful. If you have questions, put them in the comment. Please like and subscribe. Share this with your friends that use Studio One if you think they find it useful. And again, that's thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.